Hey guys, what's up? This is Panzer Dragon, and today we'll be doing a little video on 10 things to look out for in patch 6.13. So this patch actually has a lot of things happening for the support role, and a few changes coming to the champions, but more so for the items for support. So I'd say it's a pretty interesting patch, and maybe it might change the meta a bit. Also, this video is sponsored by Pro Guides. Check them out for all your rank game needs, and if you're lonely, you can talk to someone on their site. Anyways, with all that being said, let's get started. Alright, so first up we're going to be talking about experience changes. There are 4 things that are happening to experience points, and it's mainly for support. But basically, since this is a clusterfuck, I've cut it down to make it look like this. So basically, champions are worth less XP at levels 1 to 9, so less snowballing. And now the experience system now considers 2.5 levels a level, so you're actually worth more XP if you're halfway to level 3. And now you can still get XP if a champion dies near you, even if you didn't get an assist while you're dead, and also champions being executed by a tower will still count. And now wards give XP. So most of these things are to help supports get some levels in the mid game and late game. Next up, Kindred is getting a nerf. She's getting 7 less armor. That's kind of huge, but she's also getting some changes to her W, as it no longer heals you, but your wolf will now slow the attack speed and movement speed of the monsters in the jungle. So in my personal opinion, I feel like it's going to be a huge nerf for Kindred. Because what happens when you lower 7 armor on a champion? Let's say you go 2v2 with some enemies and Lee Sin. Now she's gonna get super shit on those AD type of champions in the jungle, and definitely has less dueling power against these champions. The armor growth is a piece of shit because it only increased by 0.25, so that doesn't really matter. But she'll probably have a good time just kiting the monsters in the jungle because of her new W. But also not having the heals in the mid game and late game teamfights would definitely hurt her teamfight potential. But she still has her marks, which allow her to do a lot of damage, so I think with all these changes, her win rate is going to go down by -3%. Maybe a little bit more, but it's hard to tell from here. Will she be in the top 5 junglers? It's definitely hard to say from this change. So I'm just going to say yes, no. Anyways, next up we're going to be talking about LULU, and it looks like her utility is getting a buff, but her damage is being weakened because they don't want AP LULU being a thing again. So they're reducing the damage beyond the first target to 70%, and they're also giving attack speed, but I don't really think that'll help her, to be honest. You'll usually use this for movement speed or polymorphing someone, so it's not really too much of a big deal. Anyways, with all these changes, I feel like her win rate is going to go, well, actually, I think it's going to stay the same. Because if you're playing mid or support LULU, you're doing 70% less damage with your Q. And I'm pretty sure, you want to do some damage as a support or even a mid laner. So this reducing the damage to 70% could be a bad thing, but you're also getting some buffs on your Q slow duration, and now getting some attack speed and of course movement speed and some mana. So maybe it equalizes each other out. Alright, so next up we're going to be talking about SWAIN. So the cooldown of his ultimate is going up to 20 seconds instead of 10 seconds. I don't think this will hurt too much in teamfights, maybe for really long teamfights, but for the laning phase, you're going to have to be a little bit more smarter when using your ultimate, and there's going to be windows of opportunity where the enemy can engage on you. So I feel like this is going to hurt his laning phase quite a bit, but for team fights, not too much. Anyways, his win rate is probably going to go down by 2%. Next up is going to be KENCH, and there's a clusterfuck of things happening to him. So basically, to wrap it up, his ultimate's passive is being moved to his passive, and instead of the damage being based off bonus health, it now scales off your total health, and also multiplies depending on how much stacks of acquired taste you have on someone. So in my opinion, it seems like this is a buff, since it now scales off your total health instead of just bonus health. And also I think his playstyle will be a little bit more different, because if he wants to do damage, he's going to have to not swallow his target since it loses stacks on the enemy, and also the total damage of his Q is being increased for some reason. And the big change that happened to his E is now the shield lasts for 3 seconds, but the shield doesn't fall off over the duration. And obviously R no longer has a passive, but is getting some traveling buffs. Is there a point in leveling his ultimate anymore? It's very similar to the concept of putting points into Bard's ultimate. Since if you put a point in Bard's ultimate, it only goes down by 15 seconds, so might be the same concept here. Anyways, with all these changes, I feel like he's getting a buff and going to go up by 4% win rate. That's a pretty big one, but it seems like a lot of these changes are really good for him. Alright, so next up is going to be VLADIMIR. So bonus health to AP ratio is going down for his passive, but the AP to bonus health ratio is going up. but base damage on his Q is going down, and AP ratio is also going a little up, and so they want to emphasize AP Vladimir a little bit more. Now the base damage nerf on his Q is quite a bit, because this also affects when he's on his period and uses the enhanced Q, as it's based off how much damage he does with the original Q. So it seems like he's not going to be doing as much damage as he did before and needs some AP to back it up. Is he going to be good? Probably, because he still heals for a shit ton, but maybe not permabanned in ranked anymore. His win rate is probably going to go down by like 2 or 3%. Alright, so next up we're going to be talking about some item changes, and what's going on with the ancient coin line is now they're all getting cooldown reduction and some stat changes, but especially the Talisman of Ascension. So the recipe has changed from whatever the fuck it was before to Raptor's Cloak. And now the price has been increased by 200 gold, but now it also grants 45 armor and 50% more health and, you know, maybe a little bit less mana regen, and it also gives you point runner. But wait, like, why the fuck are they giving this item 45 armor? Like, holy shit, this item looks broken beyond relief. I think this might be like the meta item that you're probably gonna get as a support now. Like, in terms of stats, it's kind of like a half-assed ZZ Rot portal, but like before this item actually used to be decent, then they nerfed the active, but now you're giving it like 45 armor? Yeah, I mean, looks kind of OP, but shit, I could be wrong, but I don't really think so. And now the Forbidden Idol item path is actually getting a change as well. They're adding a new effect where you're getting more healing and shield power on your abilities. So champions like Karma, Janna, Soraka, etc. are going to get a buff with this. And also the Ardent Sensor actually looks like a really good item to invest in, especially if your team has a lot of auto attackers. And you know how Karma is a meta champion right now. I can definitely see her buying this more often now and maybe being a little bit more OP. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Ruby Sightstone. Now, I don't really have a clip for the Ruby Sightstone since I've not used it in a while, so I guess enjoy this Thresh gameplay. So the item cost of the Ruby Sightstone is going down by 200 gold, and active item cooldown reduction is being increased to 20%. So what I'm thinking is there's going to be a new support item path where you go Makaios and Ascension, and of course the Solari, and just be this like support who presses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and uses all her items. So this is something that might happen in the future, and also if you think about it, you're gonna have a lot of armor plus magic resist with that build, since now Ascension gives armor and you're building Makaios and Iron Solari which give magic resist, so you're gonna be quite a tanky support, and I can definitely see something like a new item path for supports being made. And then next up is going to be the new game mode called Siege, which is going to be for the rotating game mode thing, which should be out like Friday or something, I'm not sure. But my thoughts on the mode is that it's kind of fun for the first time, but once you play it once and see all the new cool items, you'll probably get bored after like the third time. And unless you want a battlegrounds for testing out new champions, you're probably going to get bored of it really fast, but it's definitely pretty interesting and you must play it at least once. Anyways, thank you guys for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. In my last patch video, I asked you guys what is your favorite change, and here's some of my favorite answers. For a chance to be featured in a feature video, make sure to comment below on what is your favorite change of patch 6.13. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you didn't, make sure to subscribe. Anyways, I am Panther Dragon, and I'll see you guys next time.